boom, 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 bop, bam. The type of shit I'm on, you wouldn't understand. The type of skits I'm on, you wouldn't understand.
What up, people? It's your boy, the host with the most. I do not brag or boast, and I'm coming to you guys live from coast to coast. It's your boy. I'm Chris Down One. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Please do me a favor. Please do me a solid. Hit the subscription button, the notification bell. Share this with your friends, family, as well as your followers. If you want to further support the channel, hit the join membership button. Super chat, super stickers are appreciative. Okay. Without further ado, let's get into story time. The life of the Don Squad in the house. Stand up, salute. If you have checked out my previous video that I uploaded on my YouTube channel, that I no longer work at this location, he shall not be named. I'm not going to name this location, but hey, it is what it is. Seems like there were some things that were way beyond my control that I could have done, and there was some things that were in my control that I could have done better. You know, I'm not saying that it's all their fault. I will take some responsibility, but at the end of the day, you know, I came in on time, I left late, I stayed until most of the job was done. I was never tardy, I was never late. I did my responsibilities to beyond my control, you know. But at the end of the day, in life, you learn a thing or two. And the thing you learn in life, there's going to be some places. First and foremost, you don't have to be happy where you work at. All right, that's an emotional thing. That, hey, look, you got to put your emotions out of the way. You have to leave your ego at the door. And when you go into the workplace, you just clock in, do your 8, get out the gate. Quick, fast, and in a hurry, okay? Don't have your emotions tied or your feelings tied behind a certain job or a certain location, okay? You're there to work. You're not there to make friends. If you want to make friends, go on Facebook, okay? If you want to make friends, join the Boys and Girls Club, okay? But when it comes to your job and your workplace, you're there and you're responsible for your obligations at your job, whatever the job that's entitled, okay? But at the end of the day, a second thing that I learned about life. In life, you learn things through your experiences. And the one thing I learned about this experience was it doesn't matter how much of a worker you are. It doesn't matter how much reliable you are. It doesn't even matter how honorable you are, that you are, you know, morals and principles and things of that nature. At the end of the day, it's about who they like and who they don't like, who are cliques and who are out of their cliques. That's pretty much what I got from this experience, okay? I'm not gonna go into further details about what transpired at this location. You can go check out that video, but this is some parting shots because a lot of my former ex-co-workers now want to throw dirt on my grave, okay? I no longer work there. They're free to say whatever they wanted to say about me, but hey, they've been talking about me when I was there. I just didn't let it bother me. I just came in there, did my job, my responsibilities, and things of that nature. But it seems like they're already taking parting shots of me, saying, oh, so long, good riddance. We didn't need you in the first place. This, that, and the third. They're taking a little parting shots. Also throwing some stuff that was not true about me, you know, but hey, it is what it is. You learn through your experiences. You don't worry about what happened in the past. You turn the page. You move on to a new chapter in your life. And hey, also my father used to tell me this: someone's trash is someone's gold. And I'm at this new location. I love where I work at. I'm just gonna do, but I learned a lot of things from my previous workplace that I'm going to apply at my new workplace. And the first rule of thumb is don't get, you know, chubby and, you know, warm and fuzzy with your coworkers, okay? It's okay that you talk to them. If they want to be friendly with you, you be friendly back. But at the end of the day, they're your coworkers. They're not your cousin. They're not your friends. They're not your best friends. They're not your besties. They're your co-workers, okay? So they're going to flow wherever it flows when it comes to the workplace. If a certain manager or a store manager or a CEO doesn't like you because of your appearance, doesn't like you because they just simply don't like you, they're going to get into where they can fit in, okay? If that high leaderboard person does not like you, a lot of people are going to fly over there and be on the side of that individual that has an issue with you, all right? Because a lot of people in today's society, they can't handle their issues with other people, okay? At the end of the day, if you have an issue with somebody, you know, be open and honest about it. You don't have to be a negative Nancy. You don't have to, you know, invade their space invade their privacy. You don't have to be negative about it. Just the issues that you have about that coworker or about your manager or whatever, you have to be an adult. You have to be a professional and just say, hey, look, I see that me and you are not getting along. I know the reasons why we're not getting along. Here are my reasons why I feel like we're not getting along. And as adults, y'all figure it out. It's not about, satisfying that person's needs all the way through. It's not about satisfying your needs all the way through. Okay. But you are adults. Be professional. Be courteous. Okay. Be respectful. You don't have to just go in full willy-nilly and just assault somebody. Okay. That's not what I'm about. That's not what I wouldn't recommend you to do. But hey, it is what it is. But back to my coworkers. Seems like a lot of coworkers want to throw salt in your boy's name. Okay. But it's kind of funny. And these coworkers remind me of a glass house. You ever heard that old adage that, hey, do not throw stones if you live in a glass house. There's a reason why you shouldn't throw stones if you live in a glass house. All right. And it seems like a lot of them live in a lot of glass houses. I guess this neighborhood is just called Glass House Neighborhood, Glass House Central. A lot of them have a lot of glass houses, but hey, I can take the best, I can take the worst or the best from anyone. But hey, if you want to talk about me, it's fair game to talk about you. And a lot of you guys really don't have a lot to say or, criticize or be critical of other people when you live in misery. You live in sorrow. You're the big man at the workplace, but when you clock out and you go back to your miserable life, you're a miserable person. And a lot of you guys take your miseries to the workplace. All right. But hey, it is what it is. Okay. First and foremost, let's start off with Will. I thought Will was a cool dude. I would vouch for Will. I would tell managers, I would tell people, hey, look, Will's a cool dude. He's a good man. He has faults just like the rest of us. The only issue a lot of people had with Will, I didn't have with Will, was he wasn't reliable. He wasn't very reliable or very responsible. But I said to myself, there must be some personal demons going on in Will's life outside of this workplace that we're not aware of. All right. And I would vouch for Will, even though the same co-workers, Will, that you are, you're laughing and joking about me or talking about you on a constant, consistent basis, bro. Okay, let's just face facts. A lot of the co-workers that you joking about me about, they have those same issues with you. You're not reliable. You always call out. There was one week where you called out 3 times a day, but it is neither here nor there. If you want to get into where you can fit in, join that club, joke with them, utilize my misfortunes for your gain. Okay. Second person on the list is always Brian. The funny thing about you, Brian, you have a tendency of losing control. You're not very fit solidly in the head. You act like a child. You have temper tantrums. You're like 40 years old having temper tantrums. You'll go into the cooler. You'll throw stuff around. You'll destroy product. You talk to yourself. You yell. You scream. But it seems like a lot of you guys, get into where you fit in. It's like you want to get into this clique. You got to accept a lot of people's misfortunes and a lot of people's issues. You just got to accept them, sweep them under the rug like it's no big deal. All right. But hey, it is what it is. All right. Next in line is you. Oh my God. I don't forgot this fool's name instantly. We used to work together. Peter, the coochie eater. How can you forget that name, Chris? But anyway, Peter the pussy eater. It's funny to me how you would joke about me, but when someone has an issue with you or you feel someone has an issue with you, who would you go to? Who you turn to every time you felt like someone had an issue with you? How many times you would walk up to me and go, you think so-and-so got an issue with me? You think so-and-so has a problem with me? I mean, I'm a good guy, right? I mean, I don't do anything wrong. Like, what you think, Chris? What you think, Chris? It's weird about Peter. And the funny thing about Peter is he doesn't he has a mind, but hey, Peter, if you like it, I love it. If you feel like that you have to be something different to fit in so you can get in, be my guest, okay? I'm like this. It doesn't really matter, and I'm not huge into politics or anything like that. I really don't care who you vote for, what if you're a Republican or Democrat, what you believe in, what you don't believe in. Hey, that's you. Do you, all right? But to me, to sit up there and to vote for Trump and then blame the reason why you're voting on Trump because of your mother, which, by the way, your mother lives 1,000 miles away from you. You're 45 years old, all right? Just to get in, to fit in, because you notice when people were talking about Trump being president, you started noticing the tension in the room, that a bunch of minorities were not happy that Trump was president. A bunch of women wasn't happy that Trump was president. And, you know, a bunch of foreigners were not happy that Trump was president. But you want to get into where you can fit in. You don't want to be the odd man out. But hey, whatever you want to do, Peter, is fine with me. But it's kind of funny to me why you're throwing stones and you live in a glass house, okay? But let's move away from that, and let's talk about another individual who's the most disgusting, honestly, the most disgusting, vile person I have ever worked with in my whole entire life. The guy, I can't think of his name right now. I'm going to put his name at the top when I do remember his name. This guy was allergic to soap. The only time this guy ever took a shower or a bath, if he happened to walk in the rain.
Hell, I'm getting tired of this shit. I'm always working by myself. Hell, I'm not gonna be working by myself no more. No, not working by myself. No.
That's the only time water ever penetrated his body. Pause. Okay. This guy would wear clothes that clearly are not functional. These clothes should be in a dumpster somewhere, okay? These clothes should be recycled into new clothing, all right? There's no excuse why you're still wearing these clothes. These clothes are basically falling off of your body, okay? If this was Thanos, and Thanos had the gauntlets, remember how Thanos had the gauntlets and he snapped his fingers and half the people didn't exist, they turned into ash? His clothes are like ash. They're literally like ashes falling off of his body, okay? There's not a single stitch that is together, okay? They're falling off his body. This man also would wear shoes that should have been thrown away a long time ago, okay? It gotten so bad where he'll use duct tape to wrap the shoes together, okay? And when there was a few managers that would come in and felt bad for him and bought him tennis shoes, bought him Timberland boots. Timberland boots are, kind of expensive. He passed on it, okay? But, that's the type of person you're dealing with. I think a lot of managers don't want to approach him because they feel like he's one of those. He comes off as an employee that if you have confrontations with him, he's going to come back the next day and just take out the whole store, all right? So, and you can also look in his eyes. It looks like he doesn't have nothing together. Nothing's not computing. The wires are disconnected or fried in his brain. But hey, it is what it is. I'm out of that place. It is what it is. All right. And let's talk about Jeff Toe. Jeff Toe, it's kind of funny how you're, joking on me now, but it's kind of funny to me that you're the biggest joke in the store. First and foremost, Jeff Toe, you come from the Dollar General store. All right. And you brag and boast about how the Dollar General store does this, how the Dollar General store does that. Folks, have anyone been in a Dollar General store? Name me the Dollar General store that was ran perfectly. Name me the Dollar General store where there's no product on the floor, where there's no boxes on the floor. Name me the Dollar General store you have went to where all the shelves were full and stocked and conditioned, okay? Name me the Dollar General store that never has now hiring plastered on the front of the building, all right? They can't even keep help, all right? But, hey, it is what it is. Jeff Toe was bragging about, Dollar General. We kept telling him, well, we do things a little bit different here. And he had this mindset that he had the ability to, fire anybody. which, you know, he was a lower level supervisor. He wasn't, but he kept thinking that he was a manager, and at one point he thought that he had more clout than the grocery manager, even though the grocery manager is technically his boss. But that's how he comes off as. And it's kind of funny. Jeff Toe is like a bag of ramen noodles. You don't know what you're going to get out of Jeff Toe, okay? One moment he's calm, cool, and collected. The next moment he's panicking. He's, you know, I don't know, all right? But Jeff Toe is another character that's 35, lives with his parents, and his mother forbids him to drink Mountain Dew and macaroni and cheese at their residence, all right? Let that sink in. A man that's older than 20 years old is forbidden to eat macaroni and cheese and Mountain Dew at their residence, all right? This fool basically has to eat those things at the workplace. He can't take it home with him because she would throw those items away, all right? That's the type of person that's supposed to be responsible for the rest of the crew. This is the type of person that you give the keys to, all right? And hey, look, that's management decision, but I'm the type of person where I feel like if it's an open door policy, and if you have issues or if you feel like this is not working, that ain't working, you know, they always say, well, the manager's door is always open. The manager's door is always open. But when you talk about somebody that they can vouch for, that they say that, you know, that's one of us, he's one of one, he belongs to us, and you know, display, you know, demonstrate the issues that you have by working with this guy, then they always find an excuse. They always find a break. Why? Well, you should just give him a little time. You know, he hasn't been here that long. He has to figure it out. You know, they're always making excuses for the people that are part of this clique. But flip it on someone else that's not a part of their clique with the same amount of years or months that they've been there, then they'll always say something negative about them. Well, I don't understand why they can't figure this out. I mean, how long they been here? I mean, they should have figured this stuff out already. So they make the excuses for the people they want to make excuses for, but the people that, you know, are not part of their clique, they're not going to make excuses for them, all right? Like Samuel. No disrespect, Samuel. No disrespect at all. No disrespect to this, but how you got to be the grocery manager is beyond me, all right? Well, first and foremost, no one wanted the position, and they never posted it to other stores. And the previous store manager gave you the position because you lost your backup position to a girl that wasn't going to be here much longer because she was going to start nursing college. You lost your position from her because the manager up front would say to you that you're not doing your job. Even though she gives you tons of help, even though she gives you tons of chances, you still continue not to do your job, all right? So they reward this individual by giving him the grocery manager position. Make that make sense. The same thing like Kurt. Kurt, you're in the meat department. You failed in the meat department for the past 4 years. And they would do the same thing. Take you to train. Well, maybe he needs to be trained. Maybe he needs to be trained. Maybe he needs to be trained, okay? And when that excuse didn't work with their bosses, because our managers have bosses, and they tell them to get on or off the pot, then now all of a sudden, you want to do the right thing, move him out of meat, because he was never a good fit in meat, all right? And then you place him somewhere where they didn't need anyone for that position, okay? But hey, it is what it is. We all learn from... Sometimes you learn from your mistakes. Other times you learn from other people's mistakes. But hey, that's all I got for today. Guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. It's your boy, the host with the most. I do not brag or boast, and I'm coming to you guys live from coast to coast. Feel free to hit that subscription button, notification bell. Share this with your friends, family, as well as your followers. If you want to support the channel further, join membership, super chat, super stickers. I'm up out of here. I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm out. Salute. Don Squad in the house. I'm out.